Babadook, written and directed by Jennifer Kent, is a psychological horror film. The film follows a distressed widow, Amelia, and her 6-year-old son, Samuel, as they deal with a supernatural entity that has entered their lives through the pages of a storybook. Samuel has constant behavioral issues and is continually disturbed by an imaginary monster. He even builds weapons to fight it. Amelia becomes increasingly agitated with Sam's behavior and pulls him from school. After the Babadook story enters their lives, Samuel becomes obsessed with the idea that the Babadook is stalking the family. Strange things begin to happen in the house, and Amelia becomes frightened and attempts to destroy the book. Eventually, the Babadook ends up possessing Amelia, leading her to kill their dog and to try to attack Samuel as well. Samuel is insistent on saving his mother, and his love for her ends up saving her in the end. I'll be focusing my analysis between two scenes which particularly stood out to me in viewing the film, and that helped to represent the film's social relevance through the use of cinematography, mise-en-scène, editing, and sound. This scene starts out with an establishing shot from the back of the actress, and the viewer locates her to be at the kitchen table. As the camera zooms into the back, it then switches to a frontal, medium close-up shot of Amelia, in order to grasp her facial expressions here, which reveal the character to be in a mindset of deep thought and anguish. The remainder of the scene is then parallel edited, cutting between Amelia in the kitchen and Samuel in his room. Samuel is also presented in a medium close-up shot, and his expressions emote extreme fear. When Samuel is in his room hiding from what is assumed to be the Babadook, we are seeing through his subjective point of view, allowing us to feel more personally engaged in the rising action of the scene. While viewing Amelia and Samuel, the camera employs deep focus to both of their environments, causing our attention to filter from both the characters and their backgrounds. This depth helps viewers because while watching horror genre films, most viewers are likely to continually scan the screen to avoid being frightened by what comes next. Because this is a horror film, the lighting is very important in order to establish the mood and create reactions from the audience. Here we have a 3-point lighting scheme used on Amelia in the kitchen, with the key light highlighting our focus directly to her face, and fill and backlights evening out her surroundings and helping to attract all the attention on her while she scratches at her head and sits in turmoil. When we see Samuel, the lighting changes from chiaroscuro when the camera is close up to his face, adding drama to the overall thrill of the scene. Then to high-key lighting when we see him in his surroundings. Both schemes work together to grasp the audience's attention and direct their focus to what needs to be seen. The character's wardrobe remains dull and casual throughout the whole movie. In this scene, we see Sam in plain blue pajamas and Amelia in light and droopy clothes. Amelia's hair is styled dirty and messy, and she wears little to no makeup at all times. Her physical appearance relates extremely well to her emotional appearance of grief throughout the whole movie. The set is constructed the majority of the film within the house. There's not a lot of props used, and the house is viewed as a cold and depressing living space. The openness and dim lighting within the house represent the gloomy emotional state of Amelia. Her sadness for the loss of her husband and the constant issues she faces with Samuel are reiterated by the set repeatedly. Editing and the cut are crucial to this film in order to build suspense and also view time in the life of both characters at the same time by the use of cross-cutting. This movie emphasizes the cut, and without the strategic editing, the film would lack effect. Eyeline match is used continuously, especially when mother or son encounters the Babadook. By cutting between what the characters see and what the characters are doing, we can get a real sense of the severity of the situation and understand their emotional and physical responses better. The Babadook uses both on and off-screen sound throughout the film. In this particular scene, the sound is crucial because there are no words, and that is all the viewer has to focus on. By using intensified diegetic sound, the noise of everything from breathing, scratching of the head, and the light fixtures can be heard loud and clear. The sound is important to this scene because it demonstrates both Samuel's rising fear and Amelia's intensifying inner struggle. Here we can also hear using sound perspective and matching the volume, pitch, and timbre to their correct locations in the film. Because Amelia and Samuel are separate, we have to determine where the noises are coming from. The non-diegetic sound raises the suspense of the thriller because of its dreary and chilling effect. Using eye-level, medium close-up shots of Amelia and her deceased husband, we can see her realizations of the Babadook. The camera works with a high-angle shot when Amelia moves to the kitchen and is looking up at the Babadook. The camera moves into a low-angle shot while filming the Babadook, establishing his power and authority over Amelia, making her look weak and distressed. We see Amelia's reactions to the Babadook through extreme close-up shots of her face. When Amelia is looking into the kitchen and looking at her husband, we see through her subjective view as if we were Amelia herself. These shots do a great job of creating realness within this scene. By employing a tracking shot on Amelia, the viewer feels as though we are right there inside the house experiencing it firsthand. The selective focus on the characters allow all of our attention to be allotted to their experience and not become distracted by the surroundings. The mise-en-scene of this particular scene is particularly focused through lighting. In the basement, we encounter chiaroscuro lighting, which makes Amelia's experience all the more frightful and eerie. The dark shadows and highlights on her dead husband's face enable the viewer to connect his image with the Babadook. When we travel upstairs, all the lighting within the gray and black house is flickering nonstop. The Babadook and Amelia are both blocked to be seen back and forth between each other with the camera. The lighting is very dim and acts most similarly to high-key lighting. Because the lights go out in the house, there is some reliance on natural light within the house to light the subjects. Through the use of cutting, the drama is heightened when the viewer gets a shot-reverse shot between Amelia and her husband. We see their conversation from both sides and are able to see through reaction shots all of Amelia's thoughts through her expressions. When she leaves the basement and goes back upstairs, the shot is cut by using a fade-out with complete darkness. Then when the camera returns, we see the main character, almost appearing to be a jump cut because of the abruptness in transition. The screen direction is then determined by Amelia and what she sees and looks at within the scene, ranging from the lights flickering to the Babadook inside the kitchen. All the cutting and piecing together help the viewer feel the suspense and seriousness of the given situation the character is facing in that moment. The importance placed on sound in this movie is obvious throughout, but in this particular scene, the sound helps evoke emotions of the viewers. The line delivery coming from the husband is so creepy it gave me goosebumps. Amelia's line delivery, on the opposite side, is weak, timid, and terrified. We can tell by the change in tone and pitch from the husband he represents the Babadook in this scene. The score when Amelia encounters the Babadook upstairs is one which has been reused at the appearance of the monster throughout the film. The viewer is made aware of the monster's presence because of this given score. The volume ranges throughout this scene, rising when the camera focuses in on Amelia's breathing and getting substantially louder when Amelia gasps and runs away from the monster. All of the sounds contribute to the horror genre successfully and also help symbolize Amelia's inner struggles. With the use of cinematography, mise-en-scène, editing in the sound of this film, it succeeds as a horror film and also succeeds at presenting its overall social relevance to its viewers. The Babadook trying to come into Amelia and Samuel's life is representative of the grief she suppresses and doesn't allow Samuel to feel either. The Babadook is insistent of reaching Amelia, just like eventually grief and misery must be handled and put to bed. The dark and eerie presence of the Babadook in the film represents the darkness and scariness of grief within a person's own conscience. The end.